Okay, let me give you a classic example. Okay, let's just say I was working for a company that I've worked before called Harvey Norman. Okay, and you walk in to my establishment and you want to buy a $999 notebook. Okay, upselling is the ability to strategically position a superior product at a better price. So you might come in on that $999 product because that's a loss leader. A loss leader is, I don't make a lot of money on it. It's used from an advertising perspective. And what the advertisement is about is ensuring that there is opportunities to sell a more profitable product. That's why upselling is so important to any organisation, because if you sell the lowest price products, you will generate the lowest profit per product.
But on that point, don't
Yes.
you say that the most important thing to do is actually sell a product?
Correct.
But what you're saying here is that with upselling, you really want to talk them into maybe a more expensive one before you sell the first one?
Correct. And always start at the best. Because by starting at the best, you're saying to the customer, you deserve the best. It is a statement of fact, and it's a compliment to a customer. What upsets me more than anything else, Michael, is a poverty mindset on the behalf of the salespeople who say the only thing that I should sell is the cheapest. Right? I categorically believe that the problem of upselling sometimes exists in the salesperson, not the customer. They will buy a more expensive product if you believe it's right for their needs. You've just got to believe in order to receive.
Do you run the risk, though, that they mightn't buy anything?
Oh, no. Because what they'll do is they'll go, Michael, that's too expensive. Can't afford it. That's when you switch model downwards. See, if you start at the gutter, you can't go anywhere, right? So what they'll do is they'll go in and say, look, I like that $999 computer, for example, that notebook. And just say you recommended that notebook. You're making about 6 points margin already. Then he wants a discount on that. By the time you've finished, you spent 45 minutes and you've earned $1 commission. That's insane.
Okay, so you've got them hooked in either for the cheapest or hopefully for something more expensive, and then you cross-sell?
Yes. Now, cross-sell is the ability to understand a good docket is a full docket. Cross-selling is where what we're actually going to do is that when you buy a computer, it is pointless without insurance. It is pointless without a printer. It is pointless without paper. It is pointless without a mouse. It is pointless with all the other devices that go with it. And my very simple philosophy, if you don't ask, you don't get. 50% of people will buy an additional product if asked. Now, I know this.
Yeah.
Because I'm fat. And I go to McDonald's. And when I go to McDonald's, a 16-year-old who is not a salesperson says, do you want fries with that? And sometimes I say yes, which I shouldn't. But when I say no, you know what I say to her? No, thanks. Mm-hmm. I thank her for asking me to buy more to make me more fatter.
But at the same time, we as business people don't like, and salespeople don't like to be too pushy.
Let me just challenge on that. The reason that we have a problem with the word pushiness is because we don't define selling in its true context. Selling is not about manipulation. Selling is about helping people to buy. I'm not pushy if I fundamentally believe that what I'm doing is offering a service to the customer. I would strongly suggest that if your people are having difficulties cross-selling, the reason for that difficulty is fear of rejection and fear of failure. And I'll give you a classic example of this, of how this operates. When you buy a brand new car, every salesperson knows the price that you've already shopped around because you've gone onto Google and you've done a search. They're not idiots. Cars are commodities. You walk in there and you have a perception of a used car salesman. That perception might be negative, bordering on disastrous. You going in there saying, I'm not going to be ripped off. There is a confrontational sale process going on. The salesperson communicates with you what a great negotiator you are. He goes to his sales manager and he says, can we give this guy a special deal? It's the higher authority close. You see good cop, bad cop coming in. You see that there are only 3 cars left in the entire country. There's always 3 cars left in the entire country. Then what happens? You buy the car under this enormous negotiation. What fundamentally happens at that stage, Michael, is transformational. At that particular point of time when you've got what you wanted, that's when your relationship with that salesperson changes. You don't see them as a competitor. You see them as an ally. And what they do is that they introduce a new person, and that new person is wonderful Amy. And Amy looks after all the accessories for the car. And by the time you walk out of there, you have negotiated so aggressively on the car, you have not negotiated on any of the other products that they've sold you. That's why it is so successful for everybody to understand the way the relationship starts, and when they buy the big item, it fundamentally changes after that. And the greatest thing that holds people back is the fear of rejection. Have you ever, you've certainly been to McDonald's, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever been so offended when the girl has said, or the guy, do you want fries with that? Have you cancelled your entire order in disgust?
Oh, of course not.
No. You wouldn't. You wouldn't even. So
Wouldn't think about it.
Why?
I'm glad they reminded me.
They're glad they reminded you. So if we take that principle,
Yeah.
okay, you actually say no thanks. You thank them for buying more.
Yeah.
So it is insane to believe that a salesperson is going to lose the entire order if they ask for more. In fact, we will thank the salesperson for asking us.
And how do you encourage your people in your business to go ahead and do this?
Okay, first of all, training. You must train your people. And you must train them through role playing. It's great to sit down with them and say, tomorrow we're going to actually cross-sell and upsell. But practice makes perfect. So get them behind closed doors and train on yourself. You don't want to train on your customer because they pay your wage. Next principle is use a checklist. Use a checklist. Now, many organisations, you can't go to the next transaction until you've asked the question. I think that is extremely important. And the other thing, and I believe this is the most important thing, selling is a confidence game. If you believe, you will actually receive. You've got to be confident that they will buy the product for you. So when you ask them with passion, enthusiasm, and belief. And it is most remarkable how many times they say yes. And nod your head when they're doing it, because that will instruct them to do the same.